I'm joined by a panel of men as we get to engage on sexual objectification of women.
At the end of the day, as men, we were not trained to have any other type of relationships with women but sexual relationships.
Absolutely.
And this is dangerous.
Yeah.
Once you've acquired this trophy, the very things that you used to sexually objectify this trophy about are now the things that you're now trying to get rid of this trophy.
Yeah.
Like the trophy shouldn't, you were drawn by the fact that she wore
Looks.
a miniskirt.
Yeah.
And that you're able to sort of sexualize her thighs, and that drew an interest, so you got the trophy. And now when you have the trophy,
Yes.
you are now overly guarded in terms of this trophy cannot wear that miniskirt anymore because I need to control it so that other men
People,
cannot come and take the trophy away from me.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't really have much teachings around real, how do you sensually connect? Do we have that with our partners and so forth? I'm married now also for over 10 years. And there is really something really beautiful in just cuddling next to one another or the smell of the other person just next to you and where you feel like, wow, there is that connection.
I wouldn't want my sister to experience the things that I am doing and thinking about other women. And I like what Ben said that, perhaps it wasn't even a sexual need that I had. It was just the fact that I was really yearning for intimacy.
Yeah.
And I like the analogy that intimacy doesn't have to be, a penetrative sex. There are different ways in which a person can explore intimacy.
Absolutely. Good day and welcome to What We Men Get to Talk About. My name is Adriano Fisachi and I'm your host for today. This program is proudly brought to you by Regain Trust, Men Engaged Namibia Network, as well as the United Nations Population Fund. Today's focus, her body, my right. We've heard this so many times, but also the key focus on the entitlement of men when it comes to the women's body, their way of not really practicing consent, and also the way that them not practicing consent sort of contributes, that is, to violence towards men and women and their sexual partners as well. I'm joined by a panel of men because that is what the show is about, engaging men with men on sexual issues as well as a key focus on gender-based violence. Gentlemen, please just introduce yourself, starting with Malcolm.
All right, thank you, Adriana. My name is Malcolm Kambanzera. I'm here representing NANSO, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. My name is Tuli Kaute. I'm here representing myself.
Welcome to you.
My name is Zilobu Tangeni, and I'm representing men.
Yourself,
myself
as well. Now, gentlemen, we've heard this before, men who practice, entitlement when it comes to women's bodies, men who feel that they're entitled. I think also one of our very first topics, which I'll always come back to, I'm in charge as the man. And I'm going to start with you, Tangeni. What are your thoughts on our discussion for today?
The topic is quite interesting. It's quite interesting in the sense that most of the time when you are in a relationship, you always think of that, yes, I am the man, and I own the person that I have. So everything that I have to say and everything that has to be done around the relationship has to be said by me. So, however, I'm personal experience. I haven't really to say perpetrated, but I have noticed that especially ladies have a certain expectation also from the guys as that they are the men also because of what we have learned in the society. Because I can remember one of my exes, she used to go out. She was an out person, and then I don't go out more often. But she will go out at a certain event, and then she will call me or text me saying that, no, I'm out, I went with friends.
Yeah.
And then she will expect me to say, to ask her or to question her, why didn't she tell me earlier, or why didn't she invite me to the same event? And then I will say, okay, it's fine. Since you're already gone, it's fine. Just let me know when you are back.
Yeah.
But at a certain extent, she will call back and say, so you were just going to let me go, and then you are okay with me being out with other guys.
Yeah.
So it's also interesting if I look at it from that point, because I always question myself. So these are the things that we are living up to, and these are the things that the society is teaching us.
Yeah.
That the man has to be in control of the relationship and of the boyfriend, the girlfriend, or
Yeah.
the partner.
And I like what you say, it's society as well. Now, Tuli, from your end, why do you think men are entitled when it comes to women's bodies?
So, first of all, this idea or this definition of entitlement, so it's the idea of entitlement basically means you have rights to someone or something. Like it belongs to you. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
Understand? So, which also means that how it translates is that a lot of times men, when we get into relationships, we get in with the mentality and understanding to say, I'm in the relationship, I'm in charge, I'm in control, you are mine, I can do with you as I will. Right? What that does, it speaks to the psychology of what's current of men today in today's society.
Yeah.
So we have this ideology that no, we believe that we are entitled to women's bodies, especially as soon as they say, okay, we're in a relationship, me and you are in a relationship now, which I think is what we need to focus on, is that psychology. Where does it come from? Why do we have it? And as men in the 21st century, how do we navigate to say? Because a lot of times, like I always say, a lot of times these things are things that we have taught from the time we were kids.
Absolutely.
And so now when we're older, it's like a norm.
Yeah.
We get in a relationship, you just think, hey, I own this girl.
Yeah.
Like, your body is my belongs to me. You understand? But it's because like a psychology that you were taught from a very young age. So now you just kind of like practice it to say you just because you're used to it. So I think we need to speak to that. This is the psychology that exists. Why do we have it? And then from there, yeah.
Absolutely, Malcolm.
All right.
Your view?
I think I'll definitely add on to what the colleagues have mentioned. There's a large number of men that feel entitled to women's bodies, women's themselves in general as well. But I think it is time that we as men get to understand that at least that women at this point in time have bodily integrity, have bodily autonomy of themselves.
Yeah.
And I think also that it's high time that when we get into relationships, and I say this a lot of times, I can actually attest to a personal experience. You find yourself in a relationship where you're with a girl that's submissive to whatever you demand and whatever you say. However, when you get out of that setting and you get into a relationship where suddenly things have changed, this person is not submissive, this person doesn't do what you expect them to do, and then you sort of grow irritated. Because it's an unusual feeling, it's an unusual experience, because you're so used to, because you're so used to getting what you want and so on. So I think it's up to us. It's up to us as individuals to sort of take a step back, think about people's bodily autonomy, bodily integrity, and sort of respect that boundary. Although the person is definitely your partner or your girlfriend, boyfriend, it could be that. So just that boundary to say we're in a relationship, but we're still individuals in our own setting.
And I love the fact that you have this touch and focus on the women's body anatomy and focusing on that, it's the woman and it's her body and it's her right as well. And Tuli, you briefly touched on that, and we're going to get into some of the misconceptions when it comes to entitlement. But also, when do we then feel entitled as men? Do we feel entitled from the moment that I'm courting you? Do we feel entitled from the moment I say, yes, I want to be in a relationship with you? What are some of the misconceptions that come with this entitlement that we as men dwell on when it comes to our sexual partners?
I think one of the interesting one would be from a religious perspective. the idea or the definition that the man is the leader, the man is the head,
Yeah.
which
The man is a hunter.
yeah, the provider, which then literally translates, in some cases, the translation to that is that as the leader or the head, I say what I say goes. Whatever I say, whatever I put up, or whatever my rules are the only ones that should be obeyed or should be put in place per se. And I think that it's not that it's not that the man is the head, it's wrong, but it's the interpretation of it.
Yeah.
You understand? Because when we start interpreting some of these things and we start applying them in the wrong way, that's where a lot of these abusive tendencies come from, where if the Bible says, hey, I am the head, it means that you do what I say. Like you have no right over your body or anything else. Like you completely belong to me. I think one of the other things that we can also look at, that's a possible cause as well. And I know this will be controversial.
Yeah.
Lobola negotiation, not lobola negotiation, but lobola payments. Some men translate that to automatically means I have paid for you. I've paid a price for you, which means that you now belong to me.
Yeah.
You understand? Because I have seen scenarios of situations where literally somebody's like, it's my wife, she belongs to me, I can do whatever I want with her because I paid the lobola price. You understand? So I think some of those things are things that cause us to believe, as men to believe in some of these things.
And of some misconceptions when it comes to this as well.
Yeah.
And would one maybe add in terms of different cultures that have the Afrikaans notion, which is vrou vra, and then because of that, and your family has said yes, based on this anatomy that we've placed, that I become entitled to you because now I own you and what I've laid forth to your family.
Yeah.
Would one say that, Tangedi?
Yeah, just to add on what he said, but I'm looking at it from a traditional also perspective.
Okay.
So when you are home, when you are growing up, you will always hear your grannies, or if you grew up with your grannies or your mother, and then you have done something that is wrong or something that is off, and then she will go like, I'll come and tell your father.
Yeah.
So that means that in a way, only men can handle certain things in the house. So men are in control.
Yeah.
From an early age already, we are learning that. We are already learning that, and then we start just building on what we are learning. It's the same thing of, we talk about common sense.
Yeah.
Common sense is only means that is which in your line of intuition.
Yeah.
So that means it's common practice. Yeah. So if you grew up in a house that is abusive and all that, and husband being in charge, in charge in the house, you will find that as okay, and that's how you are also going to be groomed. That's how you are also going to grow up. And that's what you will try to practice as well.
Yeah.
So that's why tradition also had that extent of when you grew up in a certain environment, you tend to attach and to identify yourself with that practice that you have been groomed into. Yeah. So, and you also talk about lobola.
Yeah.
You know, lobola is it's a masculinity concept, and it's also I forgot the term, the concept, but the idea behind that is like it's a barter system.
Yeah.
So when you give something and then you get something in return. So if you get that thing, it's like your property.
Yeah.
So that means A can do anything to this, to whatever.
But let me stop you there for a minute, because in sense that, you know, I might not be getting married to this lady that I probably want to just court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might not be, for me, it might just be about sexual, you know, just being sexual active with her. And it might not be a thing of where I want to really have a relationship. But when does that consent then come? You know, it could be, I mean, us as guys, when we court someone, maybe from our past as well, maybe the first person that we started courting, how was that like? You know, let's get into that. Did we, you know, just simply go up and say, you know what, I'm willing to accept your rejection. I'm willing to just touch and say, hey girl, or maybe whistle at her. What has that been like for you, Malcolm?
Okay, I think before I dive into that, I'd like to lay sort of light to this notion that it has been ingrained or fine-tuned into society that a woman is sort of, and we're talking about objectification. So basically, it has been fine-tuned in society, or it was then. Things are changing now. That the woman is sort of an object to achieve. I mean, just now we were outside studio and we were talking about this picture that we saw where someone posted. It's the first time I'm seeing a Tottenham player, holding a trophy, and the guy is holding a girl.
Yeah.
So you can actually see that it's been fine tuned into society that when you get this girl, it's yours. It's your trophy. You've earned it. You've achieved it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where entitlement starts. It's where it sort of comes to the point where you feel, look, society has ingrained into my mind that I need to achieve this.
Yeah.
Once I achieve it, I deem it necessary to do
whatever I want.
Whatever I want, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and that was our discussion last week. We spoke of sexual objectification of women and how certain men feel that they need to sort of have this woman, this is my object and I can do whatever I want with this person. And is that really fair? Is that me practicing consent, Tuli?
Yeah. Well, especially with the idea of consent, I think that for the most part, as men, we really don't understand what consent is.
Yeah.
To a degree, I would say it's probably because, like, as kids, sometimes we're brought up to kind of have not whatever we want, but like we've not really been brought up to know and understand what consent is. You understand? There's an interesting thing that somebody once said, that, and this is common for most men in Namibia. If I'm a guy, straight guy, and somebody who is gay comes up to me and then wants to touch my butt, only then do I understand what consent is. You get what I'm trying to say? Only when somebody you don't like or are interested in.
But just rephrase that. Is it try to or ask?
No, just tries to.
Okay.
You understand? Because I mean, if they try, or if they just try to, only then do you understand, man. But you don't have permission to actually do that. But for us, generally as men, we don't think about it to say, man, I don't have the permission to touch this woman. I don't have the consent to touch or to say certain things to her that are completely off topic or anything like that. I don't have the right.
Yeah.
You understand? So only when we're in that situation do we start to understand. Oh, okay, cool. That's what consent is.
Yeah.
Consent means.
I mean, I think let me maybe add on to that. When you realize this when the Me Too movement came out with naming and shaming. Yeah. Most men were found shaking, even with minor instances. You found yourself that you're so used to just smacking your friends or just
touching
women on the butt, So you're found shaking because you're like, I could be named and shamed because I've been doing these things, but it's not because you did them. Just because of intent, but it's sort of a subconscious that you're just doing it without a consequence attached to it. But when you realize that there's actually consequences attached to this, punitive consequences actually, is when you start to realize that this requires permission, this requires this, and so
and I'm glad. Go ahead, Tangela.
Yeah, and also we all there's when you are at varsity, there's this thing that we guys talk about, that if a girl says no, that means it's a yes. Yeah. Especially when it comes to...
She's playing hard to get.
Yeah, she's playing hard to get. So when you get to a point where she's... you're about to have sex with a lady, with the girl. So you will be trying to entice her, to put her into the mood, and then she will say no. But you will continue to insist because you know that you have that belief already that if she says no,
it actually means yes.
It actually means yes. And then at the end of the day, you end up having it, but it doesn't mean that it was a a consensual act.
Agreement, yeah.
Yes. Because it's of the perception that we already have. We kept on forcing this. At the end of the day, it's actually not consent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that Malcolm has, and to point taken on that as well, Tangeni, have brought up, last year, especially on Twitter, we saw the social media being ablaze and women coming to the forefront to say me too. It was quite hard for a lot of women, and so many times the question was, but why now? And I think some men, like you said, was left shaken. And I'm going to ask this question: what are some of the beliefs and the risk that's involved with men believing that they are entitled to women's bodies? Because it comes from that entitlement. It comes from, I'm entitled, hence I don't need consent. I'm this baller guy, the three of you are women, I bought you champagne, but I just invited Malcolm, but that champagne that Malcolm ordered as my girls, it's for all of us, so I'm entitled to all of you. Do I need then consent? Because that's the type of image that has been brought to the forefront. What are some of the rest? Let's start with you, Julian.
So I think, let me start from here, especially when the Me Too movement came out.
Yeah.
I was also one of those guys.
Which one?
Like I
Which
saw,
one?
I saw some of the things that were being said. And all of a sudden I realized, like maybe I should know. Maybe
Yeah.
All of a sudden I was double checking my whole history, and I think it's not so much that that I was worried about being exposed or anything of that sort, but it's so much that at that point I realized there are consequences to the actions that I took previously, or that I could have taken as a result of not understanding what the idea or the concept of consent is. You understand?
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden I'm like, I could actually end up in jail.
Yeah.
You understand? Because like I said, when we grow up, for us it's like, if you're making out with the girl, she says no, you try again. She says no, you try again. And without realizing that that phrase no means no.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean that try harder. It means like stop, don't try to go further. You understand? Like literally that's like a sign to say, look, listen, I'm not giving you, I'm saying I don't want. But for us it's like, hey, let me
no means yes.
You understand? Let me try this and
Yeah.
let me try that avenue. And what's interesting is that, like I said, a lot of us were brought up with this idea that, like Tangeni says, when the girl says no, she means kind of means like try harder or try a different avenue and stuff like that, without realizing that actually is you crossing the boundaries.
Yeah.
Because the interesting thing is this: if the law of Namibia says do not drive above 120, and then you go and drive above 120, and the police catches you, in that moment you're guilty. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to relationship, it's almost as if the law says, if a girl says no, for us it's almost like, let me just try again. You understand? So for me, it was just in that moment that I realized, okay, that's what consent means, and the understanding that, if I continue doing this, I could actually end up in jail.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Tangeni, because what was so interesting is the fact that so many girls explained that I did say no, and he forced me. It could be a thing of he drugged me. So many girls then said, I wanted to go home then, but he said, just sleep in the living room, or at least sleep on that side of the bed. And then later, things happened. But the fact that she said no, and I want us to personalize this a little bit. Could it be, like you said, the guy that touches you without your consent, and then only we realize, this is what consent means. But also, guy, you're not entitled to touching my body. You, Tangeni?
One of the ideas that we also have as guys is that when you host house parties, or when you invite ladies to an outing, that means they are on you, right? They're going to be sponsoring whatever things they are doing. That already is an idea that today is the night that I'm going to have something with. Because whenever you are inviting someone, you're already eyeing someone. So especially when you invite someone at your place, because you already have this thing that if you invite someone at home at your place, okay, let me say no. There's no drinking, there's nothing. The moment you invite a lady to your house, in your mind already, you know that yes, this is, if she comes, you know already that this is when we are going to have sex. But personally, I haven't. But it has been always difficult though when when I'm trying to ask, especially now currently with my partner. When we started, I would understand, but at the back of my mind, I will still ask, but why?
Yeah.
Why are you not giving it to me? She will always say no, and I will leave it. But however, I will still have that thing of
Am I
why?
weak?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I think in this case I have fallen victim also, but it was through consent though. I will call a lady at my place and then she will offer me, she would want to have sex with me, but I will at the moment that when we are about to start sex, and I will say no, I don't think, because I have that thing of my at the back of my mind that okay, so what do we do next after we are done with this?
Yeah.
Do we talk? Do we cuddle? Do we send? Yeah. Do we go apart and things like that? So I would do that. I would say no, but I would also feel like I will also feel bad at the end of everything.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I did something
wrong.
Yeah, something wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Malcolm, let's personalize it.
Before I personalize it, I would like to go back to the aspect of when you're at a club or you guys are having a house party, then the aspect of men feeling entitled to, having women around, and after the drinking and everything, there's that notion of once we're done here, you know what's next. You know? So and I tweeted about this the other day. I don't know if you guys know Jeffrey Epstein. And his partner Ghislaine Maxwell. So I tweeted the other day, I said every house party has a Ghislaine Maxwell with a PhD in procurement. So
that's a good.
So you actually have guys at the house party who are like, I have a list in my phone, and we could get this ones, and we could do away with them in the night. And really, I've been in situations, and to personalize that, I've been in situations in house parties where that agenda has been pushed, and you only come to realize now that really these things are wrong.
Is it part of the bro code?
You sort of get an amusement, you feed your ego from that. It also extends to when a girl says, let's say you're trying to court a woman and she says no, and you're like, Wagnet, I'll get you, So it's sort of you feeding your ego.
Boosting your ego.
So I think that's where we go wrong most of the time. Yeah.
Your personal experience when it comes to just women and consent and feeling entitled towards their bodies.
Okay. I've definitely been in situations where this is of course before we were left shaken by the Me Too movement. There's where you were in a relationship and you sort of feel that you don't need to ask consent, to do what you need to do with your partner. I mean, you could say, let's go take a shower together because we're probably going somewhere or something, and then once you're in the shower, you probably try something, but the young lady says no, and you're just like, come on, and you move along with it. But colleagues, after we are left shaken, we realize that these things
it's not.
May I just say this? For me, what I find really interesting, is this idea that perhaps one of the reasons why as men we don't understand consent is because we oftentimes our masculinity is very, very, very much deeply rooted in the idea of in this idea of sex per se. Because for us it's almost like the more sex I have, or if I can get that girl or this girl, or if I slept with this girl and that girl, the more it validates my masculinity to say, yeah, I'm not a man because I slept with this girl and I slept with that girl. And so because our identity is deeply rooted in that idea of sex, is that we sometimes overlook a lot of things that are like, because to be honest with you, I've seen guys who you're taking a risk on your life to go to jail because you just want that particular, and you do like all the stupid things because you want that particular girl. Even overlooking all the various signs to say no, you're not consent. This girl's not giving you consent and stuff like that. Because for you, when you get the girl and actually do the deed, you feel validated to say, I'm now that dog cheetah, you understand?
So, because what's interesting is that you're bringing that up, and I've seen grown men that at times, just because of wanting to court that lady, I want to be with that one, act like little children who will do anything in their power to get whatever they can to sort of step on to get that candy in the candy jar. They will do whatever it takes. You know, whether it's throw a stone and break that bottle to just get the candy jar and in turn hurt themselves, or take a table or a chair and climb on and not knowing I might fall from this. And coming back to the notion of the Me Too, why is it that as men and amongst ourselves, we tend to see that Adriano is the perpetrator and everybody knows the perpetrator. But nobody is against the perpetrator, but rather saying, what was she doing there? You know, it sort of shows that, no, okay, what he did, maybe he didn't ask consent, maybe he was entitled to a body because, gents, he bought, you know, he bought her something, or gents, he booked her into whatever hotel. Why is it that we as men can never call out and say, but who is the guilty one? You know, Adriano is guilty. Now we protect each other. Tangere?
Just to add on what Tuli, before I touch to that one, because there will be a time where you find guys talking about, like he was talking about the ego. They will start talking about asking each other, okay, tell me your list. Your list refers now to the how many ladies you have slept with and things like that. And that touches a whole lot of heads a whole lot on a guy's ego. Because if you are in a group, first say we are the four of us, and we are asking how many girls did you sleep with, and out of the four of us, I'm the only one with 3. Then you will start boasting, and I will be there like, oh, okay, so I need to up my game. So that's already the idea that goes to your mind that, okay, what I will do whatever it takes to increase my list. And also, the other day on the group, there was a conversation between the lady and the guy that states that the guy have been providing this lady with a whole lot of things that she needed. And then out of that, the guy felt like whenever I'm to ask sex, she has to give it to me because I have been providing this for her. And that the only thing that she can give me is sex. So that is how we feel entitled to ladies. Now to go to the question of
the perpetrator.
The perpetrator. Yes. So you know when we are in the society, we already know the norms, right? We have created the norms already that, okay, men should do this and ladies should behave like this and this and this. And already, traditionally, we have created that thing that it's okay for men to be out, to be looking for ladies, and they are the only one to initiate also for sex. So when I perpetrate this, when a guy perpetrates this to, especially when you see a lady with a mini skirt, that's already a sign to a guy that, okay, so this is inviting. So whatever I can do, whatever I do now, it's because she is called for it. And the reason why we don't go to the perpetrator is that you are a lady, you are not supposed to be wearing like that in public for that matter. And if you even go to an extent to go to a bar or to a club, that is even worse because you are not expected to be there in the first place. And I think
so what would a club be like with just a lot of guys?
And that also comes, it's a good question also,
Yeah.
because when in that moment we only focus on the norm.
Yeah.
But however, we are the ones also that calls the ladies to the club.
Yeah.
So it's actually tricky also.
I mean, the club is supposed to be the place where you say, can I maybe have your number? And after this rowdy place, maybe have coffee next week? Not?
Yeah.
Okay. Malcolm, your take?
I think I'm going to say this quite frankly, and I think I'm going to ouch a few people.
Please
here.
do.
The reason why, personally, I think that men never call out each other as perpetrators is because subconsciously we are perpetrators. When you find your fellow bra has done something like this, and just like we said, most of the time we like to attribute it to the fact that why was she there, or why was she wearing there, or why did she go there? She knows, obviously, and so it's because subconsciously, when an incident like that happens, you put yourself in that situation, and you say, but really, if I was in that situation, obviously I would do that also, because this is what it leads to. We protect each other because subconsciously we are perpetrators.
Yeah.
Either we have perpetrated before, habitually, but
Or there's that one person that you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it stems from that. We need to break that barrier, because at the end of the day, it leads to men feeling that this and this is okay, without realizing the consequences. And 1, 2, 3, you go check, you're in jail, or you've this punitive consequence has been attached to you. But it's because you've been sitting around the table with men protecting each other, subconsciously protecting each other. So for me, that would be my take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuli?
For me, there's two reasons which come to mind. Number one, as men, we generally have very toxic belief systems, especially about masculinity. Stuff like the bro code, to put it bluntly. Because if you look, sometimes it's stuff like the bro code. It's like it's there to protect us as guys against women per se.
Okay.
Not necessarily that it's there to protect us from doing stupid things. It's just there to protect us as guys from women per se. So sometimes you'll find like a toxic understanding such as a guy, I'm not supposed to, because I believe in the bro code, it means I'm not going to tell on my bro.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a lot of these examples on social media where the guy and the girl are standing together. So the girl tells the guy, call your friend and ask him where. Like the girl calls the friend, where are you at the moment?
Yeah.
The guy, although the boyfriend is standing right there, the other guy will say, no, he's just asleep right now.
Yeah.
You understand? You understand?
Yeah.
Like he's protecting
he's protecting his
you
friend.
understand?
Yeah.
That toxic understanding or that messed up understanding of what broke. Because I always tell my friends, look, listen, if you kill someone and you tell me, Tuli, I killed someone, but protect me, I'll tell you, hell to the no. Like, just so you know from the beginning, like, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
And secondly, what's most interesting is that the second reason for me is that a lot of us as men were afraid to stand out and to be castrated out because of going against the flow.
Yeah.
Because the moment you go against, everybody believes as guys we have a standing belief to say, guys, we don't tell on each other. And the moment you as a guy decide, yo, I'm not part of that. Like I don't want part of that.
Yeah.
The moment you decide, yo, if you come to me and your girl asks me, where were you last night? And I know you were at a club with some other girl, I'll tell your girl, no, check. The moment you start doing that, then you get like you're not part of us.
Yeah.
You're not, like you get what's the word, castigated or whatever.
Castrated.
Castrated
from the crew.
You're not part of it.
Yeah.
You know? And I think most men are afraid of that. Not just most men are afraid of that, but also most men we don't have enough men who actually want to stand up for that. The truth.
Why? Other than that,
Yeah.
you know, it brings me back to what Tangeni said, is
Yeah.
that the more girls I sleep with, it doesn't matter what I do, I sort of get ranks as a general.
Yeah.
That, oh, Adriano has been with so many women.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but in turn, are we okay to say Sandra, who's Tangeni's girlfriend, has slept with so many men,
Yeah.
and she's the girl that objectify men in the same manner in which we as men do. She's the same girl that would go to the club and say, "Fanant is the aunt that I'm hooking up with this guy."
Yeah.
The next weekend she's there, another guy. Malcolm, you work with an organization that's quite pivotal when it comes to these social issues. From your end, just very short, what are the risks, especially in the Namibian concept, when it comes to the, you know, violation of women and there's no consent that's given? What have you seen on the forefront that is trending now?
Okay, I think in most of this, definitely, since we've frequently mentioned it, most of this has been attributed definitely to the Me Too movement. I think women now have grown, you know, a sense of awareness, you know, a sense of, you know, they sort of realize the power that they have when they are when they, you know, are found in situations like that. Normally, you would find that you know, it's just you just slid it under the rug, and you let it go. You suffer, you keep you're traumatized, and you move on. But now things have changed. There's definitely a drastic change in
Should
how
men be more involved in this change as well?
and I think definitely, I think, in fact, I think us as men here, we are now involved. I think there should be more settings like this. But men definitely should get involved and realize that things are definitely taking a turn for the better.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, definitely I think that would be the way to go.
Gentlemen, we've almost come to the end of our program, but I'm going to ask you this very last question. What advice do you have for men that believe that her body is my right? I am entitled to her body. I own this body. I don't need consent when it comes to this body. Tangeri?
I would say, as much as you are an individual and you feel otherwise that you own that person, that second person also might have other own understanding or belief that there are certain things that I need to do. I mean, I'm expecting from you, and you are not doing them. That doesn't mean that it doesn't give you the right to do whatever you want to do to me, or doesn't give me the right to do whatever I want to do to you. So I think we need to understand. We need to understand each other before anything else. But however, the first thing that we need to understand is that is us men. We need to understand ourselves, and we need to be truthful to ourselves, to kill that egoness in us that, and that is the only thing that is preventing us to come out and to do the right thing. Yes.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Malcolm?
Is it possible for me maybe to add on
Go
what you
ahead.
said before?
Last words from you, and also to men that are the perpetrators of, you know, thinking that her body is my right and I tend to own this.
Definitely. I think first before, and I think it's a bit off topic, but it should be said, especially when folks bring in, you know, the aspect of religion and whatever into to situations of the LGBTQ and even abortion issues. We should be cognizant of the fact that first of all, Namibia is a secular state, which means we don't ascribe to any you know, Christian religion in affairs of the state. And also we should realize that when laws are made, they are not made based off ethical situations or what is morally right or whatever. It's based off what the society deems, you know, of value, of necessity, or what is wrong and right at that particular point. So I think I would want to leave it at that society dictates what is law at that particular point in time. So we should definitely, you know, be dissuaded from, you know, bringing in issues of religion when it comes to, you know, rights of fellow individuals and so on. To answer your question, Adriano, about perpetrators, I think I would want to keep it short and simple. I'll just say to the perpetrators, don't do it. It will end in tears. So as someone who studies law, I'm a legal scholar at the University of Namibia. We read about rape cases, we read about harassment, sexual harassment, indecent assault, all those cases. And in most times it always ends in, penalties and sentences that are, exorbitant, fees that are, fines that are exorbitant. So it always ends, it's always detrimental to yourself when you engage in acts of perpetration without consent. So I think don't do it. It will end in tears once again.
Thank you so much for that, Malcolm.
Okay.
Really, last words from you. I see you dwelling there.
on my part, my girlfriend always tells me this, because what I do is I find myself dropping off people late at night, work situations or whatever it is, and she always tells me this, that always be careful that even when you're dropping off somebody, especially ladies, you have somebody in the car. Somebody is in the car to make sure that both of you are safe and nothing comes later on, because the story that if she accuses you of something, it's your word against her at the end of the day. And what that translates to is always protect yourself. Always value yourself enough to protect yourself. So the idea is that as men, we need to come to a point where we value ourselves so much that we protect ourselves even against our own egos and our own fellow men.
Yeah.
You understand? You have to value yourself enough not to put yourself in a risky position by not adhering to consent and not adhering to all of these things. You have to value yourself enough to say no to a lot of things, because you value yourself. You have to let go of a lot of things. So for me, it's just that as men, I think we need to get to that point whereby we really value and respect and honor ourselves enough not to put ourselves in risky situations whatsoever.
Thank you so much for that. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Each and every point was so pivotal that you've mentioned, and I think we need more of these discussions right here on this platform as well. And then, of course, thank you for joining and tuning in as well. Get to share this video. Thank you so much to Regain Trust, Men Engage Namibia Network, as well as the United Nations Population Fund. It is in turn our responsibility as a society to, like Malcolm said, make sure that whatever we see fit as law, to stand together as a society. I mean, not asking for consent from a woman, a mother, a sister, cousin, it could be yours. You never know. So make sure that you join an organization that is currently fighting GBV as well. Like our page as well, Regain Trust. If you need help, the help is there. You can also get in touch with us as well. They say true liberation is the emancipation of the mind. So let's emancipate ourselves. My name is Adriano. Thank you so much.